collections, classics, customs, restorations. This is Crossroads Beach House. Okay, here we are. We're at the bench today, and today we're going to be working on a Matchbox restoration. And I know when I was a kid, I had a lot of these little Matchbox trucks, the older ones with these plastic wheels and stuff on them. Before I got into the Hot Wheels and got a little bit older and looking into hot rods and things like that. But I had a number of these, and a couple of friends of mine had these, and we played out in the sand and had a lot of fun with them. This is a Mercedes truck that we are going to attempt to restore. It looks like it's not in too bad a shape, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's got that very thick coat of white enamel paint on it. It looks like you can see it's on the wheels, so that's going to need some. When we take those off, we're going to need to dip that in some brake fluid and stuff and let it soak in that and see if we can get that cleaned up. You can see the base, and we can see what that looks like. And speaking of the base, I want to take this base off because I believe it's plastic. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take and use some of this tapping fluid from Diecast Graveyard. And I recommend using some type of oil, if it can be Diecast Graveyards or it can be some other type of oil, sewing machine oil or whatever for that. Excuse me. But because what that does is it helps your bit so that it doesn't cause it to wear as fast. And so we're going to take and just see what we can do here. Don't want to go too far in. I want to take a little bit of time here with this and just get it down, trying to get the edge off of there, because you don't want to go too far in there because sometimes these posts aren't very long on these trucks. You just don't want to get into them too far. And probably going to need a little bit bigger bit on that. And okay, we're back. I've got a little bit bigger bit here, and see if we can get a little bit more of that edge taken off. Okay, oops, don't want to go too far on there because it is plastic, and you don't want to dig in too far. But I think we got it down far enough. Just kind of wiggle it. Grab a screwdriver and see if I can pry that off a little bit. Try to do a little bit more. Okay, well, we have our little Mercedes truck almost ready to go here. I've got, as far as getting ready to strip the paint off, I've got the one post drilled and tapped out. And for that, before I put that in the stripper, I will take and do some matching paint. I gotta have to mix some paint and match it for the right size, and maybe I'll show you how I do that. Excuse me for moving the camera. Other thing is, because somebody had thought it was good to paint that white, there's a lot of white on these plastic tires. And so what I'm going to do here is I am going to put them here. I'm going to try something I hadn't tried before. Sometimes people put these in the brake fluid, but I'm going to see what it does in the super clean. The other thing is, it looks like I don't know if it's paint or marker. Paint or marker on that, and as a result, I want to take in. I want to stick that also in super clean and see if that'll take the stuff off. Usually, it takes the chrome off and other paint off of plastic, so I'm going to see if it'll take that off of that as well. So we're going to take this dip in the super clean and see what it comes out. All right, well, we're still working on our Matchbox Mercedes truck, and of course, as you can see, it's really heavily painted white and stuff. With some type of enamel paint. But before I put it into the strips to get that off, I did want to try getting some paint to match. And so I've tried that, and Of course, it's a little bit wet, so so it shines up a little bit. But when you start looking at some places where it's dried here, where I painted, it's not too bad. So I think it's come pretty close. What I did to do that is I took one of these little medicine cups, and I took some white, and I used that as my base. I did that, and then I kept adding green and blue until it got to that bluish green color that's there. And so I just kept adding a little drop here and there and kept stirring it until I got that. So what I'm going to do with this now is I'm just going to I'm going to cover it up and I'll let it sit, and so it'll be ready until I get this thing stripped. But it's always a good idea to, if you want to match a color, to match it before you strip it, because then afterwards trying to find out a way to match it can be really difficult. So we're going to get this in the stripper and get it cleaned up, and then we've got our paint. At least the paint is mixed. I still got to put the reducer and the UVLS clear gloss in there, but we'll do that after. But at least it looks like it's coming out pretty close to the color of the trucks, or what's the original color of the truck. So let's move on. Okay, well, we're working on our little Matchbox Mercedes truck restoration. On this windshield, one of the things was there's a crack. There's a crack in there, and you can see just a little bit, and it's cracked across. And so one of the ways I didn't have another windshield to replace it with. So what I did, at least for the time being, until I can find something maybe else, what I've done is I took a little bit of this JB Weld, I put it on the inside, and to take and seal the cracks, just so that when it gets ready to put it back in, it doesn't crack further and go all to pieces. Now what I'm going to do is, you've seen me do this before, but what I do is I've washed up the windshield, and what I will do now is I will take a dip into the Pledge Revive, tap off all the excess, let that drip off. So you don't have that sticking in. You don't want it to just wick away the edges, because you don't want it to drip down on your windshield. Let's take a look and see how that looks. Again, don't touch the window itself. Just get the edges, let it drip down onto the edges. And there. Not too bad. What we'll do now is we'll set it over here and cover it up, let it dry, and leave it there until it's ready to put it together. Let's move on. All right, well, we're cleaning up our axles a little bit. I'll show you what I do. This one's getting there. It's got a little bit more. Probably have to. That's pretty good compared to. Let's see how this one here is a lot darker than that one. Again, you can see. So what I do is I just put it in the chuck of my drill. I put it in there like so. So it's like this. Then I just pull out here a little bit. Oops. And then what I do is I just take and I just go like this. Just wrapping the sandpaper. It's fine grit sandpaper. You can already see how it's cleaned up a lot since then, especially see it as I take it out of the chuck. You can see how one end is, you can see there's still a little bit of tarnish. It's hard to see with the way the light shines off of it. A little bit of tarnish still on this end. I mean. So I'm going to take and change it around, and we'll finish the other side. Let's move on. And here's my restored Matchbox Mercedes truck. It's a 1/87th scale, and this one was produced from 1967 to 1969. Then in 1970, it came out with the super fast wheels. Of course, it's missing the canopy that goes on the back, but besides that, it's fully restored. I had a lot of fun with this. It's kind of neat to do some of those older trucks and cars and stuff. at Matchbox Me. Had a lot of fun doing this. As you can see, I repainted it. Of course, you remember what it looked like. It had all that white enamel paint on it. I was able to match the paint up pretty close anyways to that turquoise color, and then painted that, cleaned up the windshield and gave that a dip in the Pledge Revive, cleaned up the wheels and put them back on, stripped the chrome and re-chromed the front grille and underneath. Again, these are a lot of fun to do. I encourage you, if you're into any type of restoration, just take some time to do some of these older ones, especially when they're already beat up so bad. You can't go wrong on that, and just a lot of fun. So I'm going to add this to my collection. I've got probably half dozen or so Matchboxes that I've restored now, the older ones, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And again, to all my subscribers and viewers, thank you so much. As always, God bless, and thanks for stopping by the shop.